Oh my gosh, guys, we finally have the Superman trailer release date. But we do have a motion poster. What is it? I think this is a motion poster that they're gonna play here. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of saw it. It was already kind of spoiled for me, so unfortunately this isn't gonna be a first time reaction to it, but it's okay. I can still do the face for the thumbnail, don't worry. I got you. Don't even worry about it. Anyways, let's see what this is. It's like 12 seconds. We're gonna make content out of this somehow. Don't worry, guys. Oh, there's sound to it. Okay. Is this footage of the movie? Can you guys even hear this? Do I have OBS set up properly? Yeah, I think I do. Teaser trailer Thursday. Wait, what? I thought this was the motion poster. I've seen a motion poster thing. Okay, hold on. We'll find it. But okay, interesting. So we have what would this be? It's obviously the Superman symbol. Is this like the entrance to the Fortress of Solitude or something? Maybe. I'm assuming. Look up. I don't see him anywhere. I don't see Superman. What's up with that? All right, so Thursday, December 9th, 6 a.m. PST. What is that in EST? All right, that's 6 p.m., not a.m. No, it is 6 a.m. 6 a.m. PST to EST. 9 a.m. on Monday. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess if we go here, we'll find what I saw on Twitter earlier. Okay, so this is it. Okay. Look up. So this is the little motion poster thing. Oh, there's music. Is this the score? Am I going to get copyrighted? I don't know. Okay, well, first of all, I guess we get another look at David Cornsweet as Superman. I think he looks good, you know? I'm not really... Oh, can you guys not see this? What the... Why can't you see this? This is a disaster, guys. I don't understand what's happening. Okay. Yeah, I'm not one of these like big like costume guys where I like get super critical of costumes. Like I don't really understand what people even mean when they're like MCU suits are over designed. It's like I don't know, it's Captain America. Like I don't know, it looks fine. That's usually my thought on superhero costumes. They look fine. But yeah, I think this looks good. I think the visual here is interesting. Okay, yeah, I think this is probably the score, right? Right at the top, I think it's cool. Interesting that there's like a choir. I don't know if there's ever been has there ever been like a choir in a Superman score? I'm not really sure. Oh, is that the John Williams theme? Huh. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's obviously not like the exact thing, but like the choir lady, she's humming kind of like the same notes in the John Williams theme. It's probably not the same rhythm, I don't think. Interesting, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well, that's that. Suit looks good, I think. Is that it? Yeah, I think it is. Interesting. So yeah, we got to look at the vault there, and we got to look at another look at the suit trailer on Thursday. So I guess I could talk about like my general thoughts on on the movie, just how I feel about it in general going into this first teaser trailer. So like in general, like my base feelings are I am mostly excited for this movie because it is a James Gunn film, right? James Gunn is just one of those directors where it's like I've liked everything that you've done, right? Or at least everything that I've seen of his. I haven't really watched anything before Guardians of the Galaxy, but the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, I think it's easily the best trilogy in the MCU. I think that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the best movie in the MCU. Not that it's saying much, but Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, is the best holiday special of the MCU. But no, man, I think, honestly, his worst project, in my opinion, is The Suicide Squad. I didn't love that movie, but, like, I still liked it. But then he even spun Peacemaker out of that, which I thought was incredible. So, and I'm really liking Creature Commandos right now. So, like, just because it is the next James Gunn movie, it's like I'm just inherently going to be excited because I like him as a director. And as far as Superman is concerned, it's interesting because growing up, I didn't really care about Superman. Like, I watched Man of Steel and I was like, yeah, I like this. This is fine. I remember when I was a kid, I watched like the first 2 seasons of Smallville and I was like, yeah, I like this. I'm actually watching Smallville currently. I've pushed past where I stopped when I was a kid. And I like Smallville. But it was just interesting because growing up, I never really experienced what I think people would call like, what Superman is like supposed to be. Because I never watched the Reeves movies, and it's like every version of Superman that I ended up consuming was like a different take on Superman. Where Man of Steel was like, what if Superman was like dark and gritty, bro? Like, what if the Superman appeared in our world, bro? What if it was like dark and gritty, bro? And then Smallville is like, let's follow Superman as a teenager, and he's weirdly not becoming Superman. Because like right now where I'm at in Smallville, I'm in like season 7, and it's like I'm pretty sure like by this point in time in like a regular Superman story, he probably would just be Superman because he's an adult at this point. He's not a kid. He just like chooses not to be Superman, and it's like a little weird. I assume that at the time with the contract with the CW, he couldn't really be Superman because that's how DC used to treat their CW properties. So that's like interesting. And then even more recently, right? I started watching Superman and Lois. And Superman and Lois is fantastic, right? I haven't caught up with Superman and Lois. I really should get back to it. But I watched like the first season of Superman and Lois, and I thought it was fantastic. But again, it was just like a different iteration of Superman. It's like, well, what about Superman when he's older and he has kids and he's dealing with having a family life? And it's just like, I never really experienced like classic Superman. But then I watched My Adventures with Superman. It is that like Adult Swim animated Superman cartoon that they weirdly air on Adult Swim. I don't understand why it's not on Cartoon Network. It's weird. I don't understand it, but I watched My Adventures with Superman and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's like that Danny DeVito meme where he's like, I get it now. Where it's like, this is what people are talking about when they say that, they want the more classic version of Superman. It's Clark and Lois, and they have chemistry, and they Jimmy Olsen, he's alive. Sorry, I don't even mean to throw so much shade at Zack Snyder. I don't mind Zack Snyder's iteration of the characters. I'm not one of these people that's like, you need to be accurate to the source material. Wah. I am more than happy to let an artist take a piece of source material and run off and do their own thing with it. But I'm just saying that I realized what people were talking about, right? And I absolutely fell in love with My Adventures with Superman. And it's just like, it's fun and, hopeful and all that. And it's, and and I love the characters, and I was just like, I get it. I understand. And as we've started hearing more and more about James Gunn's Superman, I have really started to get more and more excited. Like Rachel Brosnahan as Lois. If anybody's seen her in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I'm like, yeah, that's perfect casting for Lois Lane. I'm like, hell yeah. I think she's going to be incredible. You know, David Cornsweet, I don't have a touchstone for him. The guy that they have as Jimmy Olsen, I don't have a touchstone for him, but like Rachel Brosnahan specifically, I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I can see, I feel like I can see where James Gunn is going, right? After watching My Adventures with Superman, I'm like, I see a way that you can make Superman in 2024. Well, 2025 is when it's going to come out. But I can see how you can make Superman, make him be hopeful, make him not be as dark and depressing, but not come off as cheesy, right? Because you can't go all the way, you know, in the, oh, gosh, golly gooks, Lois, gee golly, Jimmy Olsen. Like, you can't necessarily do that in 2025, but I think that there's a way to do it, that to stay true to that spirit, stay true to that hopefulness. And I think it can be done. But I also understand a lot of the worries that people have when it comes to James Gunn being in charge, because the reality is that as much as I love him as a director and as a writer, he makes a lot of samey movies, right? Like Guardians is pretty similar to Suicide Squad. It has a lot of the same like tone and irreverentness of Peacemaker and Creature Commandos. That being said, I also do think that it's a little like reductive to just have that be a criticism of all of his discography, because it's like, or filmography. Because it's like, sure, there are a lot of similar elements, but like I still think that at the end of the day, like Guardians does feel unique from Suicide Squad, which feels unique from Creature Commandos. The subject matter is different. Like one of them is a space opera, the other is like kind of a war film. Creature Commandos is this like interesting look at like literal monsters. So like I think it's a little, or like I don't think people give James Gunn enough credit on that front. I don't think that all of his projects necessarily feel exactly the same, but I can understand a fear that like people have with Superman, where is he gonna do that but with Superman, because that wouldn't necessarily fit with Superman. And I don't necessarily know for a fact, but like I don't have any inside information, but I just have to imagine that James Gunn has to know, right? He has to know that you can't just do your usual thing with Superman. Like, you have to rein yourself back on the humor. You can't just have like a group of losers, you know, finding each other and whatnot. Like, cause like that's just not really what Superman is. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that James Gunn is going to do that. I imagine he will make a more traditional Superman movie, but I can understand why people would be scared about that. So I get it. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, I mean, this is like one of the most important movies of all time. Like, like this is like not just important as for like the franchise of DC, because I mean, if this movie fails, I mean, who knows, like this whole DCU is probably just not going to go anywhere, and they'll probably just stick to the Matt Reeves Batman movies. But it's like not only that, but like if you look at Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav's plan, right? Like getting the DCU up and running is like one of his cornerstones, right? For his whole plan with Warner Brothers Discovery. And it's like, who knows what the implications for the overall company of Warner Brothers Discovery is if the DCU flops right out the gate. You know, we talk a lot about superhero fatigue, and our audience is getting tired of comic book movies. I mean, you know, if James Gunn can like capture the hearts and minds of audiences with a really fantastic, imaginative Superman movie, I mean, that could go a long way to curbing that fatigue. There's also just like the approach that James Gunn is taking with his DCU, where he talks about things that honestly should just be common sense and just how the Hollywood works, but you know, he talks about how like, hey, we're not gonna greenlight a project and we're not gonna go into production on it until I get a finalized script. And it's like that sounds like common sense, right? But then you have situations with like Blade where Kevin Feige doesn't read the script and the movie goes into production and they're like a couple days out from filming, and Kevin Feige finally gets around to reading the script and he realizes, oh no, this sucks, we can't shoot this. And then they just scrap Blade and they start over again, and it's just like, or you have like situations where like a Marvel movie, they're filming, and then like in the middle of filming they realize that they need to change the third act, and so they have to do a bunch of reshoots. The VFX artists have to like scramble together new VFX shots, and that's how you end up with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's looking like absolute ass. You have all these rumors of like different cuts and endings and things, and like that maybe would have made the movie better but didn't because they were scrambling to just get a coherent movie out. And it's just like, James Gunn's approach is so sobering where he's like, hey, we're going to write a Superman script. Once I have it written and I think it's good, then we'll start filming. And that's how he's been treating all of his underlings, right? Like Anna Nagora, she wrote a Supergirl script, and James Gunn read it, thought it was good, so that's why that's the next movie out, right? The Lanterns scripts came in. He read them, he approves of them, and so that's why they're going into production on Lanterns. Whereas, the Waller scripts, the Amanda Waller show that they announced, it's like, hey, James Gunn has openly talked about how those scripts aren't ready. He's openly talked about how the script for The Brave and the Bold isn't ready. So we're not going to rush those out just because we already announced them. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot riding on this one movie. Like, right? DC as a franchise, as an IP. A lot riding on this movie. Just Warner Brothers Discovery has a lot riding on this movie. The idea of having a CEO that values the creative process, just that entire business model, all that riding on this movie. So we'll see, man. And listen, they got to come out with a good trailer. Like, it needs to be like the trailer for The Batman, right? Remember that initial trailer with something in the way, blah, and you have the Riddler taping the guy at the beginning. You have the Batman doing the Arkham combo on that one guy, and everybody was freaking out. Like, this needs to be like this can't just be like a little teaser trailer that barely tells you anything. I don't think they should start off like that. It needs to be a meaty trailer that immediately convinces general audiences like, hey, I haven't really cared about DC stuff in the past few years, but I have to watch this. So we'll see. Let me know what you think about any and all of that in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.